Welcome students. Today we are going to revise the chapter cell. Cell, the fundamental unit of life. You have studied it already. So now let's have a revision of the chapter. So just to start from the beginning, discovery and history of the cell. Introduction of the cell. Very first. So discovery of the cell. Students, you have studied it in class 8th. The cell was discovered by Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke was an English scientist and he discovered cell while examining thin slices of cork under his self-designed microscope. Then he published the term cell in his book Micrographia. So the cell was discovered by Robert Hooke. Actually, while Robert Hooke was working on the thin slice under his self-designed primitive microscope on a bark of oak tree, he was surprised to note that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb and was having many tiny compartments. He termed them cell because cell in his language means a little room. Cellula is a Latin word which means a little room. So he named it cell. So the cell was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. After that, various scientists worked on cell and discovered different details about the cell. It was Anton von Leeuwenhoek in 1674 who designed improved microscope and described for the first time free living cells. So Anton von Leeuwenhoek was the scientist who described free living cells, protozoans, RBC, human sperm cell, etc., which can survive in free living conditions. Then in 1831, Robert Brown discovered the nucleus in the cell. So nucleus was discovered by Robert Brown. By this time, when Robert Brown discovered nucleus, so by this time, cell membrane was also, discovered. It was noted that cell is surrounded by a certain membrane, and it is called cell membrane. After that, various other discoveries took place. The most prominent was discovery made by J.E. Purkinje. Purkinje in 1840 found about protoplasm. He noted similar material in different plant cells and named it protoplasm. The literal meaning of protoplasm is the first substance. So it was like the primary substance which was found in all type of cell. So it was discovered by Purkinje. Then in 1838 and 39, two German scientists, M.J. Schleiden, he was a biologist, botanist, and T. Schwann, he was a geologist. So Schleiden in 1838 and Schwann in 39 discovered some facts about cell which regarded as cell theory. Schleiden found that all plants were composed of cells, means cell is found in all the plants. Likewise, Schwann stated that all the animals also contains cell. So they both independently found out presence of cell essentially in plants and animals. Schwann found that except cell wall, the animal cells are more or less similar to the plant cells. So the founding of Schleiden and Schwann made the basis of cell theory, which was later modified by Virchow. Rudolf Virchow modified the cell theory, and the modern cell theory was formed. The modern cell theory says that all living things are made up of cells. A cell is mass of protoplasm bounded by cell membrane. All cells are basically alike. The functions and structure of a living body is a result of activities and interactions of cell. And finally, new cells arise from a pre-existing cell. So these are the findings of the cell theory. After that, in 1940, Knoll and Ruska discovered electron microscope. The discovery of electron microscope made it possible to observe and understand the complex structure of cell, that is the ultrastructure of cell, and now we have various different organs, organelles and various structures present inside the cell that now we can explain very clearly. Now we know that all living things are composed of one or more cells, and accordingly there are two groups of organisms, unicellular organism and multicellular organism. Unicellular organism, as the name suggests, uni means one, so unicellular, single celled organism. Multi means various, many, and multicellular means organism having many cells. So unicellular organisms are the organisms which are made up of a single cell. So the whole organism or the whole body is made up of a single cell. The examples of unicellular organism are amoeba, paramecium, all the protists, bacteria, fungi, some may be multicellular, but some fungi. These are all example of such organism, of unicellular organism. These organisms live independently in nature, and the single cell is capable of performing all the life processes. The single cell is responsible for obtaining food, for respiration, for metabolic activities, excretion, growth, reproduction, etc. So the entire function and entire structure is only dependent on the single cell in these unicellular organisms. The second category of organism is of multicellular organism. The multicellular organisms are formed of many cells. So the body is made up of many cells. Here, various cells, number of cells group together, and these group acquire different functions to form various body parts. Multicellular organisms may have various level of their body, like tissue level, organ system level, etc. Actually, the multicellular organisms come into existence from a single cell. During fertilization, when egg combines with the sperm cell in human being, or when egg combines with pollen grain in plants, wherever it is, there is a formation of zygote, which is single cell structure. This single cell divides and forms number of cells, which then differentiates in different types of cells and form different body organs. Thus, it explains the last theory of cell theory, that is, all cells arise from pre-existing cells. Since multicellular organisms have various cells, so sometimes in very higher organisms, in complex advanced organisms like human beings and other advanced organisms, it becomes difficult for a single cell to perform all the functions of the body. So there is division of labor. It means that different parts of multicellular organism perform different functions. They are assigned different functions and they perform those functions for the entire body. For example, in human beings, the stomach is there to store food and to digest it partially. It has nothing to do with respiration. Respiration is the function of respiratory system, which includes nose, nasal chamber, bronchioles and lungs, etc. These are responsible for respiration. These have nothing to do with digestion. So all the parts or organs are assigned with particular work and they perform that work for the entire body. The respiratory system respirates for the entire body and digestive system digests for the entire body. Such type of division of work is called division of labor. Likewise, the cell has got division of labor. We will study about cell in detail in next video. There we will study that cells have different cell organelles and these cell organelles perform special function for cell. Like chloroplast is responsible for food formation, that is photosynthesis, mitochondria for energy production and all that. So it is also a sort of division of labor. Now come to the next point, that is shape, size and number of cells. Do all the cells have similar shape, size and all the living organisms have same number of cells? No. Cells vary in shape, size and number in our body. Unicellular organisms are identified on the basis of their shape. When we talk of multicellular organism, they are also having different shapes of cells depending upon their position and function in the body. The cells perform a specific function and hence they have different shapes. Like nerve cells. Nerve cells are elongated and the longest cell present in the human body. They are elongated hair-like because they have to make connections. To perform that function, they need to be elongated. Whereas blood cells have different shape, bone cells have different shape, sperm cell has different shape. Cells also vary in their size. The cells are of various sizes. The dimensions are expressed in microns. Most human cells are generally very small, whereas some cells which are extremely large in size or sometimes extremely small in size. As I said, that neuron or the nerve cell is the longest cell present in the human body. Likewise, the number of cells also vary in the organism. The multicellular organism have a large number of cells and the number of cells varies according to the height or age or weight of the organism. Likewise, a rat will have less number of cells as compared to the elephant. So, we now know that shape, size and number of cells differs in different organisms, and in the similar organism, different cells may have different shape and size. And basically, the shape and size depends on the function and position of the cell in the body. The next term that we need to get familiar with is prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. The prokaryotic cells are the most primitive cells. These are present in unicellular organisms generally, and then the most primitive organisms are called prokaryotic. Prokaryotic cells, which are primitive cells, have small size and these lack membrane bounded organelles. These have a single membrane, that is cell membrane. Else they do not have any other membrane. Even their nucleus is not surrounded by nuclear membrane. It is like scattered in the cytoplasm, and the substances present inside the nucleus is called genetic material. That genetic material is not bounded or intact, it is scattered in the cytoplasm. The place where this genetic material is found is called nucleus. These also do not have any other organelle which are surrounded by membranes, like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum. Such organelles are absent over here. So it is having only a single boundary, cell membrane, and inside that all the substances are present independently. Ribosomes are however present. On the other hand, eukaryotic cells are most complex and advanced cells. These are comparatively new cells. The cells are comparatively larger in size and membrane bounded, well defined membrane bounded organelles are present. Mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, etc. are present. The nucleus is well defined as it is surrounded by a clear nuclear membrane. So there are two types of cell depending upon their advancement or complexity. The primitive type of cell is called prokaryotic cell, and the advanced type of cell is called eukaryotic cells. Here we must know that viruses are non-cellular structure. They have their genetic material which may be in form of DNA or RNA, and it is enclosed in a protein coat. Viruses do not show characteristic of life until they are present inside a living body. When they are present inside a living body, they show the characteristic of living things. Otherwise, when they are outside the living body, like when they are present in air or soil or on doorknobs, these viruses do not show the characteristic of living things, and these appear as dead. And that is why the viruses are considered at the borderline between living and non-living